Imagine tuning into what should have been a triumphant moment in human discovery, a polished NASA live stream designed to pull back the curtain on one of the universe's most elusive travelers. On November 19th, 2025, millions around the world gathered virtually to witness the unveiling of fresh insights into 3I/ATLAS, the third confirmed interstellar object to grace our solar system. Discovered just months earlier on July 1st by the Atlas Survey Telescope in Chile's Rio Hurtado Valley, this comet had already captivated astronomers with its hyperbolic trajectory, hurtling in from the direction of Sagittarius at speeds exceeding 250,000 kilometers per hour. It was no ordinary rock. This was a messenger from the cosmos, potentially billions of years old, forged in a star system predating our sun by eons. The briefing promised rare imagery, scientific breakdowns, and a glimpse into the data harvested by nearly 20 NASA spacecraft. From the venerable Hubble Space Telescope to the cutting-edge James Webb Space Telescope, JWST. Yet from the very first frame, something hung in the digital ether like an unspoken whisper. The air felt thick, not with excitement, but with a deliberate restraint. Behind the crisp visuals and measured tones of NASA's experts, figures like Associate Administrator Nikki Fox and Astrophysics Division Acting Director Sean Domagal-Goldman lurked gaps wider than the void between stars. It wasn't what they revealed that chilled the spine, it was what they so carefully omitted. Picture this. You're not just watching a press conference, you're peering into the abyss of interstellar history. 3I/ATLAS isn't some fleeting asteroid, it's a time capsule, estimated by recent Hubble observations from August 20th, 2025, to house a nucleus between 1,400 feet and 3.5 miles across, cloaked in a teardrop-shaped cocoon of dust revealed in those early July images taken from 277 million miles away. As it swung past Mars on October 3rd at a tantalizing 29 million kilometers, close enough for the Perseverance rover and Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter to pivot and snap photos, scientists hoped for revelations about alien chemistries, perhaps even echoes of planetary formation in distant galaxies. But the November 19th stream? It opened not with awe-inspiring visuals or bold hypotheses, but with preemptive denials. It's just a comet, Fox reiterated, her voice steady as a metronome, batting away rumors of techno-signatures or extraterrestrial oddities before they could even take root. This wasn't the unbridled curiosity we'd come to expect from NASA, the agency that once beamed back crystal-clear panoramas of Pluto's heart-shaped plains or the ethereal rings of Charon. Instead, it felt like a velvet rope pulled taut across the entrance to wonder, with speakers treading as if on eggshells, their pauses pregnant with unvoiced cautions. Why start with dismissal rather than dazzle? Why frame a cosmic gift as a mundane delivery? As the minutes ticked by, that initial unease blossomed into a profound sense of something withheld, a narrative polished to a sheen that obscured the raw edges where true science thrives. And as the feed cut to black, the ensuing quiet wasn't relief. It was a vacuum, sucking in questions like a black hole devours light. Let's rewind to the comet's dramatic entrance, because understanding 3I/ATLAS's journey amplifies the briefing's subtle dissonances. Spotted initially as a faint 17th magnitude speck by ATLAS, a NASA-funded sentinel against near-Earth threats, this interloper's path screamed outsider. Pre-discovery data from the Zwicky Transient Facility stretched back to June 14th, confirming its unbound orbit, an eccentricity well over 1, meaning no gravitational tether to our sun. By early August, JWST's near-infrared spectrograph had pierced its coma, detecting familiar ices like water and carbon dioxide, but also hints of the exotic, elevated nickel levels echoing the second interstellar visitor, 2I/Borisov, and a reddish dust hue suggestive of ancient, radiation-battered origins. As it hurtled toward perihelion on October 29th, just inside Mars orbit at 1.4 astronomical units, the comet brightened steadily, peaking around 12th magnitude by mid-November. Ground-based scopes like the Nordic Optical Telescope and Tidy Observatory's twin meters captured its diffuse coma in marginal tail as early as July 2nd, while NASA's Swift Observatory traced hydroxyl gas emissions in ultraviolet light during July and August sweeps. Yet despite this symphony of surveillance, Hubble's streaked star fields from tracking its hyperbolic dash, Lucy and Psyche's backlit glimpses of dust grains from afar, Maven's hydrogen trails, and even SOHO's solar vantage between October 15th and 16th. The briefing treated these feats like footnotes, no cascading montage of high-res comas or multi-wavelength spectrographs, just a checklist recited in even tones. Hubble saw a faint halo, Webb molecular whispers, MRO distant streaks, each mention trailed by a litany of excuses. Instruments misaligned, calibrations pending, data downlink delays, stacked like barriers in a labyrinth. It was as if the mountain of megabytes collected across wavelengths from ultraviolet to infrared had been funneled through a sieve, leaving only the blandest drips for public consumption. This selective restraint wasn't mere bureaucracy. It pulsed with a rhythm that begged scrutiny. Dive deeper into the November 19th footage, and you'll notice how NASA's panel, flanked by high-level context from Associate Administrator Amit Kshatriya, circled the extraordinary like wary moons orbiting a gas giant. They touted the armada, nearly 20 assets, from TESS's early activity, hints as far back as May 7th, when the comet was a chilly 6.4 astronomical units out, to SphereX's mid-August infrared portraits revealing ice histories. Parker's Solar Probe and Punch monitored solar wind interactions. Europa Clipper and JUICE prepped for November ion tail immersions. Yet the visuals? A meager handful, blurry Hubble frames from September 16th stacked to show a speeding point amid streaked stars, Psyche's 8-hour vigil on September 8th to 9th yielding hazy silhouettes at 33 million miles, a dim SOHO blur. No animations of the comet's 130,000 miles per hour sprint past the sun, no 3D models of its slow rotation inferred from Hubble's variability-lacking data. Observations not ideal, they murmured, glare and saturation issues. Reasonable on the surface, perhaps, but repetitive to the point of incantation. Why loop these justifications like a broken record? If the data were as unremarkable as claimed, consistent with every other comet, per Fox, why not flood us with the avalanche? The briefing structure itself screamed curation. Open with normalcy, skim anomalies, close with promises. It transformed what could have been a fireworks display of discovery into a dimly lit hallway, shadows flickering just beyond the bulbs. And oh, those anomalies, the fleeting sparks that ignited the real fire. For a split second, as Goldman glossed over JWST's August 6th spectra, elevated carbon dioxide surged into view. Levels far higher than expected, a whisper of primordial atmospheres from star systems eons older than ours. Nickel, disproportionately high against iron baselines, hinted at metallurgical processes alien to our cometary kin. Echoes of 2I/Borisov, but amplified, suggesting a birthplace in the Milky Way's thick disk, where stars skew ancient and metal poor. Dust polarization, rare as a blue comet in local skies, bent light in patterns unseen since Rosetta's 67P rendezvous, implying structures etched by cosmic radiation over billions of years. These weren't footnotes, they were thunderclaps. A July study by Matthew Hopkins pegged 3RI/ATLAS's age at 7.6 to 14 billion years with 68% confidence, older than the sun's 4.6 billion year youth. Imagine, a relic from the galaxy's formative fires, adrift for epochs, its chemistry a barcode of forgotten worlds. Yet NASA pivoted with surgical grace. No charts dissecting ratios, no graphics animating dust ejections, no deep dives into implications for exoplanet formation. Comets behave like this, they soothed, as if reciting a lullaby to skeptical stars. The jarring pivot, describing a unicorn while insisting it's a horse, viewers glued to screens in living rooms from Tokyo to Toronto felt the whiplash. Here was data poised to rewrite textbooks on interstellar migration. glimpsed like fireflies in a jar before the lid snapped shut. Why bury the lead that could redefine our place in the cosmos? The silence around these chemical fingerprints wasn't accidental. It echoed like a held breath, urging us to lean in closer. Then came the jaw dropper, delivered almost as an afterthought. 3I/ATLAS's origins in a system predating the sun. Spoken softly by Fox amid trajectory diagrams, it landed like a pebble in a still pond, ripples of potential vast enough to drown in. A September analysis by Yi-Yang Guo traced close stellar encounters within 1 parsec over 10 million years. But the core truth? This comet's velocity tweaks suggest a lineage from the galaxy's elder stars. Its ice is preserved in cryogenic stasis for billions of years. Clues to cosmic history abound. How did it evade gravitational snares to reach us intact? What planetary nurseries birthed its odd ratios? The implications cascade, refining models of thick disk populations, probing the galaxy's chemical evolution, even informing hunts for habitable zones in ancient systems. A single graphic could have ignited global discourse. A follow-up panel on age dating via orbital dynamics might have trended for weeks. Instead, a fractional pause, a nod to the possibility, then a seamless glide back to safe harbors. Still analyzing. Many blinked and missed it, lost in the briefing's fog of qualifiers. But for those who caught it, the omission burned. If 3I/ATLAS hails from pre-solar antiquity, its secrets are heirlooms of the universe's dawn. Why treat them like trivia? This wasn't oversight, it was orchestration. A door cracked just wide enough to tease the light within, then firmly latched. The weight of that unexpanded idea, heavier than the comet's outbound mass loss, estimated at over 13% post-perihelion per momentum conservation models. Lurking in those shadows were subtler enigmas, like the non-gravitational forces nudging 3I/ATLAS off its predicted path. Comets outgas, yes, sublimating ices imparting tiny thrusts, as seen in Borisov's quirks. But here the deviations whispered of more, subtle accelerations defying pure gravity, potentially from uneven venting or unseen dynamics. NASA's ExoMars Trace Gas Orbiter refined the trajectory tenfold via October 1st to 7th triangulations with Earth-based scopes, yet the briefing dismissed these as typical outgassing variations. No contextual models, no velocity perturbation graphs, no tie-ins to the sunward jet spotted in July-August, and anti-tail-defying geometric illusions per Avi Loeb's analyses. If routine, flaunt the fits. If revelatory, like Oumuamua's unexplained boosts, why the hush? The tone betrayed them. Calibration woes mentioned as if peering too intently might unravel the comet's facade. Recent November 5th images from Arnave's observatory show a fuzzy orb sans clear tail, defying expectations of a post-perihelion dust plume. Add the retrograde ecliptic alignment, 0.2% likelihood per lobe, and the puzzle sharpens. These forces could unveil rotation rates, thermal profiles, compositional layers, windows into an alien forge. Yet dimmed like a spotlight on a suspect stage, they vanished into the ether. The briefing's script? A masterclass in deflection, turning potential eureka moments into echoes. Visuals, or the stark lack thereof, formed the briefing's most glaring void. With 20 spacecraft in play, Perseverance's Mars surface snaps, Maven's atmospheric echoes, even JUICE's November particle probes, the output should have been a visual feast. Instead, 2 Hubble blurs, a Psyche haze, SOHO's faint streak, claims of awkward angles and saturation piled like alibis, forming a pattern less cautious than custodial. If unremarkable, broadcast freely, if confounding, like the complex ion tail imaged November 8th at 29 degrees solar elongation per virtual telescope project, explained the bewilderment. The curtain felt intentional, veiling a narrative too potent for prime time. Disruptive truths don't hide from boredom, they retreat from revolution. As questions flowed in, shape queries softened to uncertain, Dust behaviors rerouted to future papers, data gaps padded with ongoing analysis, the window narrowed. 3I/ATLAS, now outbound in Virgo, per November the 25th of Sky Maps, fades toward 12th magnitude by December. Its December 19th Earth closest approach at 1.8 AU, a final observational gasp. Hesitation here isn't science's tempo, it's strategy's shadow, gently hurting our gaze from the abyss. As the stream dissolved into credits, the residue wasn't data, but doubt, a gravitational tug from the untold. NASA affirmed normalcy, yet the omissions painted a portrait of caution, overwhelmed by raw spectra, wary of sensationalism amid Loeb's technoprobes, or guarding a mosaic that defies comet labels. Post-perihelion, with no massive tail despite predicted mass loss, and November 12th images showing elongated ion streams, per Gianluca Massi. The activity intensifies even as it recedes. Hydroxyl from Swift, sulfur-oxygen ratios pending Hubble's November UV work. These are threads in a tapestry half-woven. The silence? Perhaps prudence, awaiting peer-reviewed clarity. Or deeper, a truth too vast, too model-shattering for unvetted release. So where does this cosmic tease leave us? Not in defeat, but in ignition. Questions as fuel for the fire of inquiry. What unmapped origins birthed this elder wanderer? How do its nickel spikes and CO2 surges rewrite interstellar chemistry? Why the orbital tilt, the force anomalies, the tail's reluctant bloom? These aren't voids to fear. They're portals, beckoning us beyond the scripted. If the briefing's weight settled on you, the tension between spoken and skirted, the pull of the unseen, you're in stellar company. This isn't the end. It's the spark. Stick with us as 3I/ATLAS sails into Leo by December. Dimming, but not silenced. We chase the whispers NASA mutes, dissecting archives, amplifying independence like PRL's mid-November infrared from Mount Abu. Curiosity isn't compliance. It's rebellion against the rehearsed. If this dive stirred your stellar soul, deepened your distrust of the tidy tale, hit that subscribe. Because we thrive in the gaps, illuminating what official beams avoid. Like if the unspoken hooked you, share so fellow stargazers question too. Drop a comment. What anomaly nags you most? The age? The forces? The hidden hues? Your voice joins the chorus, turning silence into symphony. The universe doesn't whisper secrets to the passive. It rewards the relentless. Stay tuned. The real broadcast of 3I/ATLAS is just beginning, and we're decoding it frame by unfiltered frame.